Hello, my name is Lucy Powrie and 2018 was my first year as the Bronte Society's Young Ambassador. I've loved the Brontes ever since I read Agnes Grey and Wuthering Heights, and I know you shouldn't have a favourite sister, but my favourite has always been Emily, and so being part of Emily's bicentenary celebrations was an absolute dream come true for me. And I had an amazing year at the museum getting to know the collection, hearing more about the Brontes, and being witness to Bronte events at the birthday weekend celebrations in July. So the year kicked off with the Making Thunder Roar exhibition, and I loved the items on display. I loved getting to see items such as Emily's diary papers, and I think seeing them in the flesh was incredible because you get to see the time that it would have taken her to write them, the care and attention, but also the messiness of them. I think when you read them in a book, see the transcript of them, you don't get quite to see the personality in them as you do when you see them in front of you. I also loved seeing Emily's artwork on display, her detailed drawings, because I appreciate her as a writer and as a poet, but one of the things that her bicentenary year taught me was just how brilliant she was at art too, and I think it was really nice to see her poetry and her prose as well as her artwork all displayed together under one roof, and so you get to see the different parts of her personality and how she showed them through the different art forms. On display too in the main exhibition space was Emily's writing desk, and I think we know so little about Emily in fact that I think seeing her objects, the intimate things she would have used every day to write Wuthering Heights, to write her poetry, to write the few remaining letters we have of hers, gives you the ability to look beyond her writing and to imagine how she would have lived her life every day, sitting around the table with Charlotte and Anne at night as they worked on their writing, reading the reviews of Wuthering Heights as they came in and cutting them out. And through viewing lots of the collection in 2018, I found that I really was able to build up a much greater picture of the Brontes in my head. Another amazing part of the collection to return in the summer of 2018 was Branwell's pillar portrait on loan from the National Portrait Gallery, and I'd seen the picture of it so often, but seeing it up close in person was just phenomenal and something that I think I will always treasure. Getting to look up close and seeing the pencil marks, seeing the way that Branwell may have painted it, and speaking of Branwell, seeing Branwell return as the paint that he painted over originally fades and he once more returns as the pillar portrait did to Haworth. I learnt not just about Emily whilst I was Young Ambassador, but about myself too, and time again I've come back to words that Emily was said to have said while she was staying in Brussels. I wish to be as God made me. And one of the things that 2018 taught me about myself was that it is okay to be who you are. It's okay to love the Brontes, because I met so many like-minded people at the Parsonage who are so passionate, who are so knowledgeable on the Brontes and on so many areas, that I found that having so many conversations taught me that it is really okay to embrace that side of yourself. And I think being a young person and having an interest that is not the norm can seem unusual, or you can view yourself as weird sometimes, but I've spoken to so many people this year, both at the Parsonage and through running my online Bronte book club, that feel exactly the same way as me, and so I feel like I found a like-minded community of people that really do accept each other and for the most part are non-judgmental. I've always related to Emily because of the way that she is viewed as very reserved. She was quiet and shy and didn't like to venture too far from home. She also had a huge affinity to nature and the landscape around her, and one of my favourite things about 2018 was spending time out on the moors, spending time in the landscape of Haworth and finding out what it was that Emily loved so much about it. And I think that I have always been a very shy and reserved person, but travelling so much and meeting so many different people in many different environments in 2018 through my work as Young Ambassador has meant that I felt that it is okay to be shy and reserved, but there are also parts of me that I embrace because I'm so passionate about the Brontes, which mean that I feel much more comfortable in my skin, and so I do feel like I've become a much more confident person, and I feel like I've learnt so many skills in 2018 2018 that I'm going to take forward throughout the rest of my life. At the end of July, there was a host of events for Emily's birthday weekend, and I loved sitting in on the panel discussions, and I really loved hosting my own workshop over the weekend where I got to talk about online life and sharing the videos that I have done and how other people can do the same thing. But one of the things that I learned from sitting in on lots of the panel events is that everybody has a different view of who Emily was, and I still don't know myself who Emily was, and I don't think anyone will ever be able to find out how Emily felt on certain topics. But I think that one of the things that really became noticeable for me was how each of us views Emily through our own lens, and I think by sharing lots of our opinions on Emily, we do build up a greater picture of who she may have been. And I still can't say exactly who Emily was for me, and it's been changing throughout the year, and as I change as a person, my perception of Emily and what we know about her changes. What did become apparent was the importance of talking about Emily and Wuthering Heights and her poetry, and how it is vitally important that we keep this conversation going. We can't say what Emily would have thought about the bicentenary celebrations, we can't say what she would have thought about all of this, but I think what we can say is that 200 years after a remarkable woman was born, we are still talking about her and honouring her, and the celebrations in the past year have attracted new fans of her works, as well as encouraging old fans to talk more about her and to embrace the lessons that her life taught us. So 2018, Emily's bicentenary year, will always be a special year for me. It's taught me about myself, it's taught me about Emily, and it's taught me about the importance of speaking up about what we believe in and how we view Emily, so that future generations will have her words too. You can find out more about my work as Bronte Society Young Ambassador by viewing my Bronte Book Club videos at youtube.com/LucyTheReader, where I've done in-depth discussions on each of the Bronte's novels, as well as videos relating to their novels and the Bronte's lives. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I wish you all a very good year celebrating Patrick's year in 2019.